Hello, I'm Urmo. I'm a product management enthusiast. I have contributed to the Tallinn Product Group with my articles before, but it's my first time to be hosting the podcast. My guest is today Aive. Aive has led software outsourcing company Concise, and she's also co-founder of KoThinker. Hi, Aive.
Hello, Urmo. Very nice to be here.
Please share a bit about your professional journey.
Yes, my background has been in different roles in technology companies for over 20 years. And my last job was in Concise, as you mentioned, where I was the CEO. And I had the pleasure to grow the company from 30 to 120 employees. And through that growth, I learned a lot and I made many mistakes. And it was a very exciting time for me. But then at some point I felt that since Concise still is the technical company who has customers, and I grew more in love with the startup world and the business side and the product side, then I felt that this is the world I want to try out myself as well. And so yes, I made a very hard decision to leave a very good and steady job and then jump into the world of entrepreneurship. And this happened 2.5 years ago, and so far I have never regretted it because the growth that this time has given me has been very valuable for me.
When you made this decision, what was the most hardest for you?
The hardest was accepting the unknown because, yes, you go into the world where you have no idea what tomorrow brings, and it was hard for me, and you don't know when and how and from where your next income comes and so on. So this was actually a decision that took me a lot of time. It wasn't like in one day when I made it, and I had a lot of help. I had a coach who helped me to make this decision so that I really felt inside that it was the right thing for me to do. And yes, then I just believed in myself and did it.
I think that you shouldn't make this decision, or...
No, I have never regretted it because, yes, wherever I am today, again, in a place where I'm still discovering where to go next and so on, and still living in a world where there is so much unknown, then today I feel that I have grown to love it and accept it, and this has been a wonderful personal growth.
Sounds good. What is KoThinker about?
KoThinker is about helping people to find more joy at work, because I have always believed that it's not just the life outside work which we should enjoy, but it's also the time we spend at work that should be fun and exciting and fulfilling for everybody. And so one thing which I noticed as a CEO in Concise was that for people to actually grow professionally, mostly they don't need more information, because we live in the world full of information, and we can learn from AI, we can learn from books, we can learn from internet blogs and so on. But what people really struggle with is how to apply this knowledge into their daily life, because that's the hard part, like how to put it into practice. And this is something that I felt there's a pain in the world, and with KoThinker we are solving it, and we are solving it through offering mastermind groups. So it's matching the right people together and having different approaches and tactics how to push people to actually act and use like on-the-job experiments so that it wouldn't just live on the level of discussion, but to to change something in your daily work and it's valuable for you. So that's what KoThinker is about. But there's also another side. As a CEO of Concise, I also felt at some point alone with leadership there myself as well. And then my solution was the same. I built the mastermind group for me. So I asked from my friends and their friends to form a group and start getting together. But another thing I then realized is that such groups don't work on their own. Somebody has to prepare them. They need a structure because otherwise what happens is that after a third meeting, we have nothing left to talk about. And with KoThinker, we are making it really easy. So we have built the structure behind it. So every session has a specific smaller topic and it's very flexible and it's according to the needs of the group. So it's not like a training program, but still it has the structure and it has a clear view how to continue giving value. And what I have seen is that with KoThinker mastermind groups, the value starts growing. So maybe even the first meetings in those small groups are a little bit awkward, but after people get to know each other, it becomes more and more valuable because you don't have to explain your background, like what am I doing and where I am, but the people know you and they know your work and they know your product, and so. And with the structure behind it, it becomes to bring more and more value. And you are one example of it as you participated our pilot group, which we launched as what was it, a year ago?
Even more. Yeah, it was in
more
April,
than a year ago.
April last year.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I have this experience and this group has been giving much value to me from both perspective of getting new knowledge and also of having supportive effect. So, but what do you think? What is the key success factors of KoThinker groups?
It's one thing we are working really hard with is how to match the right people into the group. So it has to have some kind of common values and common place where you are. We don't accept the people who are beginners because the mastermind groups only work if everybody in the group has experience. So it doesn't have a teacher or something like that, but it's rather about sharing experiences and learning from each other and giving situational feedback. But still, you cannot put completely any people together and say that it starts to bring value, but rather there needs to be a common side and then there needs to be different experiences. And finding this balance is something we have been working on and experimenting and failed with and then succeeded with. So this is, I think, a very important part of this. And the other thing I would say is where we put a lot of effort is how to build a team. So it's not only practical things, but it's also the gamification elements we use during the sessions and around the sessions, so that it would be also this fun thing and not something where you have to go, but rather something where you want to go and you feel you belong there and you have this strong feeling. So since I have been building a lot of teams in my life, then this is again something I'm passionate about, and I think it's really important here as well, because for me, team is not people put together in the same call or in the same room, but a team is something that is formed when you actually connect people.
Yeah, but regarding the teams, also important aspect is the goal of the team. How do you see, are those members in those groups the same goal or each one have a different goal? Or
I would say the goal has to be somewhat similar. This has to have the common ground. And of course, the details inside are different. But for example, today we are doing groups for technology company, different roles. So far only for product managers, but now we are expanding it a little bit. But yes, what I have seen is that if, for example, the company culture is very different, and one person is, let's say, in a very huge company where the challenge is aligning different stakeholders, and it's very complex and so on, and the other person is building a startups, doing their first go-to-market, then there's not a good common ground. So yes, there has to be similar goals.
In addition to KoThinker, do you have other activities as well?
Yes, KoThinker is only part of what I do today. So I have several things in my hands, and I would say they all complement each other. So I'm really happy about it. But I am helping several companies to build their good product and tech organization. And then I'm also involved in a very interesting product and approach together with Jõhvi. And I'm not sure if everybody knows, but Jõhvi is a very innovational coding school in Jõhvi, and now they are expanding as well. And their main goal is to help more people to reskill themselves and become developers, because world needs technical people. However, during their main focus, they noticed that there's another gap in the market, and that gap is that companies have it's quite common nowadays that companies have leaders and people building organization who have no technology experience. And it's very fine, because when you are building a finance big company, then and being a CEO of it, then you need the finance background, and you need to understand the business and so on. However, the world has changed so much that in today's world, a lot of business involves the technology. And like this, a lot of leaders have found themselves in a place where now they are actually building technology companies without having any technical background. And they don't wish to be developers in the future. So the main program of Jõhvi doesn't fit them. But then we looked into this problem, and we started to innovate and find ways how to help those leaders to better understand what this technology world is, how it feels, and what are the approaches how to actually build such companies. And we came out with currently there is one version of it which is 2+1 days program where we then have very different approach than normal trainings. So we have built a product where those leaders actually get the chance to code, and they get the chance to get a feeling what it is to build software on a very detailed level. But then surrounding this experience, we talk about how to build a technology company. So it's mixed from different sides to get a good understanding what it means. And this has really been interesting for me to work with quite many companies already through this program, and look inside and see how people actually wish to understand better and to make wiser decisions. But everything starts from leaders of the company, so they need to understand the changes they wish to make in their company.
So you believe that of leading the tech company, you should have some experience of writing software by yourself, and it will make it more clear for you and will help to be a better leader?
Yes, because it's always good to sort of walk in the shoes of your end user or your employees. I know, for example, a lot of companies have the policies that even the top leaders need to do the daily work from time to time just to keep the sense of reality. And so, yes, when we build a product, then we also think how we, whatever we build, we want to understand how it is to work, to walk in the shoes of our end users. So it's the same approach in that sense. But what makes our solution different is that it's not just doing the coding, which you can do wherever, but we have built into this solution sort of tricks and things which are not so much about like understanding how coding is, but why it takes time, how good the input should be, and so on. So it has a completely different approach than the approach of just learning the coding, but it has used the approach of what are the common misunderstandings between tech people and business people and how to build a bridge between them. So yes, it has a bit specific angle into it.
You mentioned the common misunderstandings. Did I understand correctly that there are some patterns what are repeating by company to company? Or what are those challenges? Mm-hmm. What those bigger companies and more mature tech companies are facing?
Mm-hmm. Well, very simply put, then whenever you speak with a company, then the business people say that the tech people and the developers are too slow, and then the developers say that they cannot maybe understand what they are doing, and they don't see the value of what they are doing, and so on. So eventually, it's all about strategy, but there are like very many different details inside that. And one thing which I have seen quite a lot recently is that when leaders of big companies don't have the experience of building tech companies, then they are not even aware of the different kind of approaches. And I personally believe that any kind of approach can work, so it's not that the only one works, even though I like prefer a very specific one myself, but still I believe that different approaches work, but it's more about the awareness behind it, like do you understand why you are using this approach, what are the risks of this approach, and what are the benefits of this approach, and this is something I feel that a lot of companies don't make decisions based on awareness, but actually they just do whatever they have heard of or what feels natural without understanding what's behind it. And in a very simple way, I have explained that there are 3 different kind of approaches which big companies use. One of them is a project-based approach. It means that basically all new developments go through a bit of like project committees, steering groups who then approve the project, then it gets finances, and then it goes into development. So in a long run, everything is done through different projects.
How is it different compared to the regular roadmap planning, or is it a kind of roadmap planning?
Mm-hmm. Depends now what kind of roadmaps we are talking about. If we are talking about such companies who have this project-based approach, they usually have the roadmaps of the projects. So they know that this year we will do those 2 or 3 big projects and some small ones, and then next autumn we will plan the projects for the year afterwards. So in that sense, it includes the roadmap, but the roadmap is about projects. So yes, this is something that is quite common, and again, it works, but what's the challenge with this approach is that, first of all, it sort of takes away the ownership, because this project committee or steering group is the one who then says what gets to be done and what not, and then the development teams get to develop this project. However, they are not responsible for getting this product to work and be beneficial for the company in business run and also from customer side. So it takes a lot of the ownership away. And another big challenge with this approach is that what today's world is about is we never know exactly what's going to work. Okay, in some industries maybe you know, and then maybe the project-based approach is very good. But in very many places we don't know exactly what works. And now the problem with this project-based approach is that once the project ends and it's released, then the team is handed another project. But in real life what happens is that once you release this first MVP of some good big thing, then you need to start following, like how is it used, is it solving the real problems, is it good or not, and it needs a lot of follow-up activities, improvements and so on. But the company then has hard time, because on one side you have like those follow-up things from this previous project, but your roadmap says that you should be already doing the next project. So it makes a lot of confusion in the company, and sometimes even blaming, because the new project manager says that, okay, I wish my things are starting because otherwise I will be in trouble, but the previous ones need changes, and then somebody says that, but why did you build the wrong things? But actually you didn't have a chance to test them on real users and so on. So this is something where the confusion comes.
Okay, so the first one is the project-based approach. But what are the others to you?
The second one I see a lot is which I call feature factory. Basically, how it maybe separates from the project approach is that there are a lot of different stakeholders in the company, maybe from different departments, maybe from different roles like salespeople and so on, and they all have their expectations on what kind of features needs to be built. And then we have the developers team, and they get a lot of feature requests, and we have very long backlogs of thousands of things needed to be done, and the development teams are just doing features one by one. I would say that this approach has a little bit better ownership, because still the teams are more like working on products and not so much of projects which have like beginning and end date. But still it brings a lot of confusion, like what to build, when to build, who is happy, who is not happy. I have been involved in such kind of approach a lot, and I have tried out different things, like 1 month for this stakeholder and department and another month for the other one. But still approaching like this, again, you don't know like what's the most beneficial for your business and what's actually bringing you the best value. And another problem with this, yeah.
Is there an issue that prioritization framework is not well implemented or established, and actually you don't need to satisfy in general your stakeholders? It's about creating value to your customers, and the question is that how do you understand that you are really creating value with those new features or the problems that you are trying to solve?
Exactly, and those things usually are not that much in place in feature factories, but most often it's who makes the loudest noise gets their features done. And now if you ask whether the prioritization frameworks help here, of course they help a little bit, because it helps at least for you to understand what has like bigger impact and whatnot. But again, what I've seen is that personally, when we get to the third part, then I don't believe in prioritizing the features, but it's something else we actually could prioritize. However, let's assume that we are in a feature factory and we are doing good prioritization frameworks here. Then again, what I have seen is that when you have like if you don't have a clear goal in mind, then what is this prioritization based on? It's still like based on like whatever, and then people have different opinions of what has higher impact and so on. Because whenever we talk about like impact, we should say impact on what, and those feature factory approaches mostly don't have good goals in front of them, and then we are talking about what impact. It's like, okay, impact on engagement, impact on revenue, impact on what, and then it's still like not really producing the value.
Yeah, but when we are talking about the goals can be set up in a very, very different way. So the goal can be that please implement this and this and this feature for this and that deadline, but rather in a strategical level, I believe that it's more important to focus on the business outcomes, not on those features. So
exactly.
Does it mean that actually it's an issue of lacking strategy?
Yes. And when we talk about the third model, which is the product operating model, then what's the challenge with that is that it only works if you have very good strategy. So if you don't have a good strategy, then you quite often become a feature factory because you don't know what are your goals, what are your focuses, and so on. So to actually transform from feature factory to product operating model, then you need to have a good strategy, and but that's not enough. Of course, you need to change other things there as well, and then it's a question like, what's your roadmap about? In feature factory approach, when I talked about the project approach, then the roadmap is about projects. When we talk about feature factory approach, then the roadmap is about features, because you still want to do like plan what features get to be done and when. And when we talk about actually product operating model, then the roadmap is about specific outcomes, as you mentioned, and the roadmap doesn't have any features inside it. So this is where the difference comes from.
Maybe you can open a bit more this product operating model, that where does it come from and why it's called the product operating model. So, and how it's, okay, there are different goals, but what are the other differences compared to those two previous?
Yes, there are a lot of different words for it. So these are some words which I have grown to use. The word product operating model for me came from Marty Kagan, but he already got it from somewhere else. So this is something commonly used word. I think previously I was referring this model as modern product management, but yes, as I said, there is no right and wrong. So that modern word maybe wasn't the best there, and now I've started to call it the product operating model, which for me makes sense, because your focus is building products, not features, and yeah, that's the background. Now what's inside it? Again, the world is very much full of different theories, people using different words, and I have got my own words which I like to use. They come from different people who have done a very good research around the world, like what's really working and why it's working and so on. So So yes, but again, there are like very many different approaches which can be used inside this product operating model, and whatever words people use are fine as long as the principle behind it are aligned with this model. And yes, as mentioned, it all starts from strategy. So basically, strategy for me, again, is never like activity roadmap or feature roadmap, but strategy for me is something that where you understand like how are you realizing your product vision. You have like some kind of main principles there that help you to understand where you put your effort, how you actually differentiate from your competitors, and then you also think about what you don't do and what is not your focus. So that's also an important part of strategy, like how do you plan to reach your vision. And then strategy for me also is a lot about those understanding the focus and what do you want to achieve, so that it's not achieving outputs, but it's achieving outcomes. So basically you want to achieve some kind of result. And once one customer asked me like, please share what's your vision on how to get perfectly from idea to like realization and development. And I thought a little bit about it, and then I realized that for me even this question is wrong, because why do we start from ideas rather than we start from goals? So of course, let's assume that we already have some kind of overall problem idea which is validated and which actually the world needs, but now we want to grow it and enhance it. Then things don't start from ideas, but they start from actual goals. And this is the change that cleared up all my backlogs, because I saw that when we only take strategic goals, and there shouldn't be too many of them. Again, depends like how big your company is. If you already have like 1,000 people and many different teams, then you have like several goals, bigger and smaller ones. If you're a smaller company, then you only have a few. However, you still have very clear goals, and you only deal with things that help to reach this goal. And it's all about finding now ways which help you to reach this specific goal. I call this part finding opportunities. This word comes from Teresa Torres, which is also a person whom I have been following for a long time. And yeah, besides, I like the word opportunity a lot because it has such a, it's our business opportunity to grow. So it resonates with my mindset. And yes, it's all about first having a goal, then having clear opportunities. And now we prioritize, first we prioritize goals, and then we prioritize opportunities. And actually, we don't then need to prioritize features at all, because once we have an opportunity, which is not a solution, but it's actually unmet customer need or desire, gets a priority, then inside that we do those small iterations of understanding what could be the solution, validating the solution, and then developing the solution. And once I implemented this approach, basically it made development boards so small because you only have things there which are connected with opportunities which you are currently trying to solve. And you don't need things for the future which you think that at some point it would be a good idea to have it. We don't need those ideas, because you don't need to plan what to develop in half a year or in a year, because then your product is already in another level. Then you know so much more about your customers and your users, and so you can so easily just forget the future on that level and just concentrate developments on the level which have the priority on goal and opportunity level currently. And yeah, this for me is working with actual product operating model, having a clear strategy and inside understanding what are the business opportunities. Every opportunity you prioritize should be viable. So it should be important for the business. It should be usable. So with a good UX, it should be feasible, so technically doable, and it should be also desirable so that the customers actually need it. And so yeah, if you do that, then the solution part will be so simple and the backlogs will be so short.
So said that all those three models can be used and depends on the organization and situation. So maybe you can give some recommendations. I believe that you are my understanding is that you are a strong believer to the product operating model, but for first you project-based approach and also so-called feature factory. For what kind of situations or organizations those models fit better?
Yes, if you want to produce as little waste as possible and reach your goals as quickly as possible, then it's the product operating model. But now the question is that if it's so good, then why doesn't everybody use it? And for me, the reason behind it is that it's very hard to implement because it's difficult for people's mindset. People have learned in school that we have to do tasks, and this is something that's so natural for us that we do homework. If it's done well, we get a 5, and that's it. And how we use this homework never interests us. So,
may I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So we also would like to satisfy our parents, our teachers, and also in our work environment, our stakeholders, so make them kind of happy, but
Exactly. And this is something that's natural for us. And that's why building this feature factory approach is easier because it comes naturally for people. It's something, it's the sort of the mindset in which we have grown up to please different stakeholders, to do our tasks, and that's it. So in that sense, really, when you want to use product operating model, you need to do a lot of work with people, and that takes a lot of time. So I believe that it's worth it. But again, it takes time to then mentor people, to coach people, and to help them reach this mindset. And if you don't want to do it, then this feature factory approach is better for you. So yes, it comes more naturally for people. You find people easier in the market who are good fits to it, and so on. So that's like one differentiation for me. And yeah, for project models, as I mentioned, if you are in a domain where you know very well like what's needed and you don't need to learn constantly from your end users, then the project model is very clear, and then it could be also even productive. So it's not right or wrong, but it's a matter of choices.
What about really highly regulated areas, for example, banking, or if you have some new regulations coming up and you just have to implement it by whatever date, and then there is no way that you will do it. Does it also mean that for such situations the project-based approach is working well, or?
I wouldn't say that regulations itself is forcing to use project-based approach, because regulations can easily be part of product operating model as well. And of course, whenever we build something, whichever model we use, we need to be aware of the restrictions, and having legal restriction is important in any model, and we need to fulfill it, and so what I see is that in project and feature factory approaches, we also use sort of fake deadlines, which do not come from regulations because those models are like built in such way. However, in product operating model, there are deadlines, of course, if they come from some kind of real source and they are affecting our business. It doesn't only have to be regulations. It's also that we have already planned our launch date on that time, and of course all the developments need to take this into consideration. But the focus is on a bit different level. It's not that we use the sort of feature project plan to reach that date, but rather the teams are aware of the restrictions and all their choices are based on knowing those restrictions. So when I was talking about the opportunity, then I have built a template how currently I am describing those opportunities, and it's also about knowing the risks and the restrictions of those opportunities. It's only an opportunity if we do it before that date, because after that date something changes in the world or whatever. So this is all part of understanding the business, and one thing that again separates feature factory and product operating model for me is how the company is built up, because when we quite often companies using feature factories have the company structure is so that they have the business side and then they have the IT side, and this already makes impossible to use a product operating model because you have already built your company in a way that it's you don't have product teams. However, when you are actually doing this product operating model, then you don't have a division between business and technology, but you have it all in the same flow. You have product teams who are building the actual product, and they are responsible for this business outcome of this product. And if the company is growing, then you can have very many teams. You can have hundreds of teams, but this means that you have to have very good company structure where the business is very well aligned with this technical side, and this is quite hard to do. And again, when we now choose and think of the differences, then if you don't want to do this thinking of how would your company work in such way and how can you actually lose this IT department and build product teams, then you cannot use product operating model, and then feature factory is for you.
I have seen, or I've think about that, that according to my understanding, we have also this issue in our public services, because usually business people are in the ministries. There are government management IT houses, and then there are also outsourcing partners. So basically the business is in one organization, or even part of the organization, and the managing part of the IT is in one place, and then the developers are even in the third company. So maybe we can talk a bit about also the outsourcing and how do you see that? Is this one reason of the inefficiency of our public sector and especially the IT developments there?
Public sector has other limitations as well. I have worked with public sector a lot, and actually we managed to form very strong product teams in public sector as well, and worked agile, and well, it was not totally like a product operating model, but it wasn't that far as well. So in some sense, it's possible even like this. But the problem with the public sector is that they have so high rules on how to do procurements and how to choose their partners. So it's not about who would be the best fit, but it's also about a lot of legal things and then getting those legal things done. And for me, that's something where I see that they are in a bit of a situation where it's hard to change it, but agreed that in some sense that's the reason why there's a lot of waste in public sector. But I haven't understood a way how it could be possible to change it, because just public sector has its limitations, and they had to accept them. They have to accept them, and they have to do the best job inside it. And I believe there are a lot of companies in public sector as well who are very innovative and trying to improve those things. However, I would say that it's not so much the issue of public sector versus private sector, but rather like the issue of how do you see outsourcing and how do you use it and how do you build it. And even though my background is in companies who have offered software solutions for customers, then now I strongly believe that once you are in a phase where you already have you have your first product market fit and you have some kind of stability, then you should always build your main development in-house, because it just makes it so much easier to then run in the same culture, breathe the same air, and understand this business and build this good structure. Even in Concise today also has a very strong technology teams who are aligned with customers' business, and they are product teams who are responsible parts of products. So it's possible to build it also with outsourcing, but it means very close relationship between two companies, and it's still hard, because what I felt is still people are a bit divided between two different cultures. They have in one way a company they work for, and then they have this one company who has hired them and the other company with whom they work from day to day. And if every company has a bit of different leadership style and whatever else there, then people are a bit broken between two things. And I think it's so much more effective if they are in the right place in the company, in the product team for which the company for which has the business ownership of the product. So yes, I'm not a huge fan of outsourcing. I see places where it's useful. Of course, if you have to grow very quickly and you are not able to hire that quickly on your own, then using partners is very good. Also, maybe if you need some extra power for 1 year or 2 years, but you see that then it ends, then again, very good place where you outsource and have a partner. So I believe in partnerships. Sometimes it's also using partners to bring something new knowledge into your company. But I also believe that all product companies still should have the main flow of their main business in-house, because it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I have experience of working in both ways, having a big in-house team and also outsourcing all the IT developments, and I can say that the both approaches could work well, so it depends really on the company. You mentioned also the separation between IT and business sides. related topic is also the two roles, product owner role and product manager role. How do you see that in what organizations should be those roles separately, or because we had a really good article from Anna-Liisa 2 weeks ago, so I really recommend about this topic to read the article. But what is your opinion about those two roles?
Again, it all starts from your approach. So basically, I believe that if you are using the product operating model, you do not need a product owner because then you have a product manager and working closely with a development team, and maybe there's an engineering lead. They're also working with the team, but you don't need a separate person to be like in between of the product manager and the development team, because they should really work as one. And sometimes the product manager role itself can be a team, in a sense that maybe there's somebody who is helping with deeper research or something like that. But then it's still like this product management team and not product owner. However, when I was talking about this quite typical feature factory approach, where you have like a separate part of organization for business and then another part for the IT, then this is where this product owner role comes from. Actually, product owner role comes from Scrum, but now it's used much more wider. But anyway, the need comes from actually having those two different sides, business side and tech side, and there, since sort of it's like a different feature requests coming from different business side people, then I see that there might be a need for a product owner who then helps to prioritize and understand those needs and helps daily this one specific delivery team. So I understand why this role has come and why it's used quite a lot, but I personally believe that the more companies move into this actual product teams model, then the less the role of product owner is needed, because it doesn't add any value, but it actually makes it more complex. So yes, that's my...
But what's the issue? Why this applying this product operating model is so complicated? Is it the issue about the management, or is it more about the product managers itself, or because there are so many benefits, but still companies are struggling or even not trying to implement it?
As I mentioned, it's a lot of work with people, and it's hard work with people because it's different mindset. It starts from management. I think this change cannot be done without management's buy-in, and it starts from having a very good and clear strategy, but it's also about changing the mindset inside the culture, and that's hard work.
Does this approach, what you're doing in Jõhvi, does it help managers to change their mindset, or at least are you trying to do it? I'm
not the person there who can say what's right or wrong for their company. So I'm just explaining different pros and cons, and then still every company needs to make their own decisions, because in 2 days I cannot learn their whole business. And so I'm not the right person to say what is right for them. However, I have seen that it's really nice if people feel that in the end of this program that they have ideas like what to consider and what it actually means. And yes, there have been companies who have been very eager to do some changes.
Great. You also mentioned that one issue that companies are struggling is the cooperation. What are the reasons there? Is it about that codes are not clear, or are the issues regarding cooperations in some other levels?
Yes, I have been working with several companies on understanding like how different roles could collaborate with each other. And one thing I have noticed is that companies put a lot of effort in maybe training every certain role, but maybe have missed this opportunity to improve by understanding how to collaborate better between different roles. And here it's also when we talk about feature factory versus product operating model, then what's behind it is that it's not only the product manager who can change it, it's not also the technical team who can change it, but the mindset needs to be changed in every person head who is involved in the process. And so, for example, the different departments and salespeople who come with those feature needs need to understand that for better collaboration, what's needed for them. And why I mentioned this opportunity template beforehand, why it's important for me is that people closer to business wouldn't come with solutions because they are not the best people to come up with the solutions. They have no knowledge of this technology world and what's possible there and so on. So what they are really good at is understanding the business, the domain, the users and so on. So they should, in a very good way, describe this situation behind it, and then it's a collaboration part to come up with a solution. However, quite often it's so that sometimes from CEOs, sometimes from salespeople, sometimes from business experts come these solution feature wishes, and that gets developed, and that's not collaboration, because collaboration for me means that different perspectives are used to come up with the best solution. And for that, you need this business side, design side, technical side, and the product side. And everyone should pitch in finding the solution. And that's really hard to get this collaboration working. This is, for me, part of the job of product manager to build this collaboration and to build this stakeholder management. But again, it's very challenging, and I understand it. And what it means is that you talk about the right things. You understand the jobs to be done of different roles in your company, and then you together find the best solution that then solves everybody's jobs to be done. But if we jump right to the solution, then it's a lot of blaming, like, but why didn't my feature get developed, and so on, and why were those regulations considered? But regulations is also part of it. So you mentioned before, like, does having high regulated area mean that you cannot use product operating model? Then no, it doesn't. But it means that people from legal department also need to be a part of finding this solution. So again, it's about collaboration. But we sort of want to forget this collaboration between different roles, and we want to build sort of flows in a sense that everyone gets their tasks, and nobody thinks whether those tasks are actually good or whether those tasks are helping our business today and our users.
Thank you, Aive. It's time to wrap up. My final question for you. What is a good book or a podcast or maybe article or some other channel what you would recommend to Estonian product managers?
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to recommend one book. We have in KoThinker, we have a monthly book clubs where we go through different books and then people can read it and join us in the discussion where we again try to put this book into a practical life. And but yeah, I mean, it depends where you are. Of course, if you want to understand this product operating model, then Marty Kagan's books are very good, but they are very general. So it just gives you the overall view, but it doesn't give you like good specific examples. I like a lot a book which we discussed in June, which is David Pereira, and he has the Untrapping the Product Teams or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And this book for me was also like very practical, but yeah, it depends what are you missing today, and if today is something where you want to improve your discovery, then Teresa Torres is really good. So it depends where your pain is, but there are very many very good books.
And what about KoThinker's groups? Are you opening soon some next group? Can people apply?
Yes, we are opening the applying soon, but we are not starting any groups this year. We are starting new groups in January, and yes, we have also now taken some time to set better focus and understand what's really needed. And we are going to try out also some groups for collaboration. So it's about not only about one role, but actually having two different roles in one mastermind group to improve collaborations in companies. So yes, there will be, but not this year, unfortunately. But we are opening the applying part.
Yeah, thank you, Aive. My key takeaways from today is that it's all about cooperation, and in the product teams or in general in companies, there can be different operating models, and it really depends on the situation at the company that what model will fit you. And as a product manager, you don't need to be alone. You can join KoThinker's mastermind group and find your fellow product managers to share your ideas and get some support. So thank you, Aive. Thank you, our listeners. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you.